Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to the next movie review for Halloween month. Well, this is the point where, we're at this film and I have another film coming up, but after this one, this is the point where I am so sick and tired of this damn company. I think this is the most overrated company, movie studio of all time. I think it is. I think they are. Especially when it comes to horror films, though. I don't know why they can't make other films other than horror films, like good ones, like I've seen. But what I'll be reviewing is a film called X. That's what it's called. It's just just the letter X. That's what it's called. And which makes me honestly, I was thinking of the DMX song, X Gonna Give It To You, which they ain't gonna give me nothing. But what I was referring to is because this is another horror film, let alone overrated horror film, that's made by the overrated movie studio called A24. And I'm honestly getting sick and tired of these overrated horror films they're doing. They get so much praise up the ass. Why I'm saying, and what I'm referring to, why can't they just go back and making good films that are not horror films, like Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler? He did an awesome job of that movie. He gave one of the best performances he's done in his career in the last 15 years or so. He was great in that movie. I enjoyed Uncut Gems. The Disaster Artist with the Franco brothers, James and Dave Franco. The film, but making that movie of The Room, where James Franco plays that guy, Tommy Wiseau. I like The Disaster Artist. Why can't they make make more movies like that, But, no. I mean, I've hated every horror film that this studio has came up with. I hated Tusk, the shitty Kevin Smith movie where a guy, Justin Long, he gets turned into a walrus. It Comes a Night. I reviewed The Witch from 2015 long ago. I did. The Witch bitch, you can say. The Lighthouse. I mean, the acting of Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, their acting was fine, but just overall, not a fan of at all. But I wasn't a fan of The Lighthouse. Especially the two most overrated ones I've seen, Midsommar, which I reviewed, what was it, last year, I think it was, yeah. Overrated movie, and it's a completely freaking stupid ripoff of The Wicker Man. Which, like I said before, the 2006 remake of that film with Nicolas Cage was better than that. As bad as that was at least I could watch it for Nicolas Cage, kicking women in the face or something like that, just. And then I'll be reviewing another one, which I've mentioned before, though, which is going to be coming up in this after I review this, though, and another one, Hereditary. I'm totally dreading reviewing that movie. I really swear. That is it's Hereditary and Midsommar are the most overrated ones from A24. And Hereditary with a freaking boy wearing his freaking crown, a thorny crown, which. Goddamn, man. And then this other one, and also another one which earlier this year, this came out first, and then a couple months later in May, the next one called Men, yeah, which that's also going to be reviewed as well. After review, so this film, Men, and Hereditary, 3 straight A24 movies I have to overrated that I have to sit through and review. And all these movies that they've done for horror films, everyone gave so much praise, and which, like I said, everyone's own opinion. But I'm saying this studio is way too overrated. I think it's one of the worst overrated movie studios ever to be making movies, especially when it comes to horror film. Stick with Uncut Gems or The Disaster Artist. I'm so tired of all these horror films that are coming out. It's funny, every single horror film that A24 comes out, it gets so much praise, oh, this is the scariest, or it's so suspenseful, the best horror thriller in years or whatever, you know, like 4 stars, 5 stars. I'm like, you know what? After all this, you know, I know better than now, but saying that every horror film, every A24 film that's making a horror film is going to come out, I guarantee it's going to get a lot of praise from critics, Rotten Tomatoes, or stars, or whatever. And I know it's going to be an overrated garbage. That's what I'm saying. Just like this film. And and the same thing with Hereditary, Midsommar, and the other one, Men. Which I do have it right here, which I'll quickly show you. This is another overrated one. Stupid title too. Men. And it's from the but I'll get to that though some other time though. Not enough time for that. I'm talking about this movie X. So I'm over 5 minutes in, and why am I talking about the movie? Okay. It's directed by Ty West, who he directed this, wrote it, and produced it. He's done some films back then, though, which are. Did he direct the remake of Cabin Fever that Eli Roth directed from back then? I forget. I know of Ty West though, but I will say he did some pretty good camera shots. I'll give him. The positive I can say, he did some pretty good camera shots. Especially there was one scene in particular where the lead girl, what was her name, Mia Goth, I think her name was, where she goes for skinny dipping, you can say, in this leg, and there's a gator which she doesn't know it's behind her, right? She doesn't know it, but as she's going back to like the dock part, and it's the gator slowly going towards her. But I think as though it's viewed from way up above. Like I'm looking down right now, straight down where the girl and the gator slowly are going this way. You know, straight from way up above, right? And the gator's slowly going towards her, you know? That's a good-looking shot. I would say that. That's a good-looking little bit shot where the girl does not know that the gator is behind her. That is a good-looking shot. I would say that. I'll give you that, you know? So Ty West, he does some good, use some good camera angles. And there is some pretty decent practical gore bits. I'll give that as well. But the characters, I don't know. Once again, it's funny. It's funny that all these A24 horror movies, all these characters, they have no sense or sensibility at all. You know, they have no common sense, or they have no brain cells. You know, to be smart about things. You know, all these A24 horror films. It's funny, like they have like a Midsommar. You know, like they see a freaking an old couple, they jump off a freaking cliff. And the woman dies, but not the guy. But then when they see a person take a freaking, like a Susanoo Kamizuki hammer right here, you know, from Devil's Part-Timer, right, this where I'm pointing at, that big, and just smash the guy's head to mush. And what do? They talk about their freaking thesis. Their freaking thesis. This paper they're writing about, their thesis. These two guys are arguing about their freaking thesis. Hey, you just saw an old couple get freaking murdered, okay, and died, and all you do is talk about your thesis. Hey, we saw this. This is crazy, batshit crazy. Let's get out of here, away from these crazy cult people. No, all you do, especially these two guys, they talk about their freaking thesis. See, people don't act like humans in these A24 horror movies. They don't. Especially in freaking Midsommar, that's what pisses me off more, you know? Argue about freaking paper and your thesis, and you just, instead of leaving. And it's the same thing goes to this, you know? Because, okay, going back to the characters, like I said, the lead girl, she does drugs. She's a Christian girl, and she wants to makes a porn. She's a porn actress, and they want to go to this place. It's in Texas. It takes place in 1979, which does the thing. I'll give another positive thing. It does look like it does take place in 1979. The way the camera looks and how the way its settings look, it does look like it does take place in 1979. I'll give it that. And what's so great about the lead girl anyway? I didn't care if she lived or died or not. But she does drugs, she's a porn actress, and she's a Christian girl. because, well, I'll get to that later though. But then what else? What's a likable about her character? And she has other members that are gonna make a porno film to go out to this rural farmhouse. Like her fiance, I think it is, who it's the guy who plays. Okay, he was the guy who's like the guy who's making this film, right? And he's the guy. He's played by the guy who was in the 2002 remake of The Ring. He was like the boyfriend to Naomi Watts. When he saw the video, he gets killed by the Ring. Martin Henderson. Martin Henderson. That's the guy's name. He was in the Ring remake from 2002 with Naomi Watts. He was the boyfriend, I think he was. When he saw the video, he was there when the girl came out of the TV and she killed him. Okay, so he's the guy who was from The Ring, and so he's the guy who is the maker. I think he's the director or producer. I forget he was, but yeah. And then you have his other cast members. Which actually the one girl who's not the actress, but she's like the part of the film crew was like holding the mic and all that stuff. The girl Jenna Ortega is the girl's name is. She was seen previously, what I saw earlier this year back in January, at that shitty new Scream movie. Yeah, Scream 5. She was the sister that got injured at the beginning of the movie and put in hospital. And that's when the older sister had to come back to back to town to see her. Yeah, the girl who got injured at the beginning of Scream, the sister of the lead. She was in Scream 5. She's in this as well, which I didn't give a damn about her in the fifth Scream film anyway. Plus, she does something stupid anyway in this movie anyway. So, but she's in this as the girl of one of the as the camera crew. She's holding the mic, and she has a boyfriend who does the filming, which the actor who plays his character, he's influenced by Ty West. Plays like trying to make him look like Ty West. Which, okay, I don't care. And then the other guy, and the other couple, you have this girl, this very Texan accent. It's played by Brittany Snow. Brittany Snow, I remember she was in the Prom Night remake from 2008, the Prom Night remake. Great, another shitty remake I have to remind me of. And the guy, her partner, that she's going to be doing the sex scenes with, this black guy who was played by what's the guy's name? Scott Mescudi. Or actually he's a rapper, which he goes by his rapper name Kid Cutie, or Cuddy, I forget. But that's like his rapper name. Hardly ever heard of this guy. But never heard of this guy. But he's the guy who's doing the sex scenes with Brittany Snow, and that's basically the main cast, right? So they go to this farmhouse to do their filming. This old guy. He's a war veteran from both World Wars. Even the black guy, Jackson is the guy's name is. He was a Vietnam vet too as well. So you kind of like a bit sympathy with him because they're both war vets. So you hear my dog's barking outside. She probably wants me to stop talking about this movie. This is funny. Wherever I do wherever I do rant, she starts barking. She probably doesn't want me to talk any bad movies or overrated movies and review good movies instead. Yeah, thank you, Midnight. Thank you. But the old guy has an old wife. This is a very old couple, which obviously it is obviously makeup effects. They're younger people in makeup effects as these old people, which actually. The old lady is also played by the same lead actress, Mia Goth. She's doing a double role in this. She's the lead girl in this movie, and she's also doing the double role of playing the old lady as well, named Pearl. Well, which I will give credit to, because yes, the acting. Oh, another thing is the acting is not bad. This movie, it's not. The acting is not that bad. The lead girl, it's not her acting was bad. It's just the overrated script that they give with this movie. So, and I give I give credit, trying to do a double role. The hard of trying to do two roles, especially when you're sharing the same scene together. So I'll give credit to that of the acting as well. But and basically one of the legit about this is because of these old couple. They're too old, and they're jealous of younger people, like we should have done back in their youth and all that stuff. And I mean, hey, you know what? You're having a little hissy fit because you have all these decades years you could have done and you just didn't. Hey, that's life, we all grow old, okay? I'm sorry, that's the sad truth, okay? You can't just turn back time to relive your younger days, your glory days, we grow old, that's life. Boo frickin' who, But no, but obviously this woman is unhinged. I mean, after doing this, they're filming their porno movie, and Jenna Ortega, who was the girlfriend to the cameraman, she wants to get involved in this movie, and that kind of upsets him because she's like not fit for this kind of thing, but she does it anyway. He gets upset by it. He tries to leave. Then the old lady, kills him. Stabs him in the neck, right here, like this, or was it like this? And then when he's on the ground, she continues stabbing him until he gets decapitated. Good gore effect. I'll give you that. And also, while she's doing this, you have the song Blue Oyster Cult's "Don't Fear the Reaper" playing, which I like the song. Don't fear the Reaper, baby, come on, don't fear the Reaper. I like the song. But yeah, but it was a nice, decent gore effect. And then afterwards, then the guy, the producer, the guy who looks like, the guy from The Ring. Yeah, I was like the guy who was from The Ring, which is quite funny. He does trying to be like a Matthew McConaughey type of guy, I don't know why. Which the case, it says a stupid dialogue where he's asking the guy, the cameraman, I think it was, as like, "Oh, come feel my crotch, see how hard it is." I'm like, who talks like that? Who says that to another guy, Oh, a guy, "Oh, here, come and touch it and see." This film gets praised. I'm checking to see what percentage this movie has. 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. And we have 94% Rotten Tomatoes, where we have a guy who's asking the camera guy who's, "Oh, come feel my crotch and see how hard it is." I mean, and plus, it just basically a rip-off. It's basically also almost like a sort of semi-rip-off of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a way, and a little bit of Eaten Alive, because you see one of the girls, that was Brittany Snow, gets eaten by an alligator in his leg. I'm like, "Oh, you see, basically steal two of Tobe Hooper's movies." Which, I'm sorry, Eaten Alive is better than this, and this film doesn't even touch Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a 10-foot pole. Please, come on. Hey, all of a sudden, what? Here's a good idea. Have the 74 Gunnar Hansen Leatherface pop out of the middle of nowhere and just kill all these sons of bitches. Kill the old people as well. Please don't try to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because there were certain shots that they were trying to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. 70s style movie, people in a van, right? Or even by the end of the movie, where the lead girl drives away, almost like before the sunrise comes up, just like the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Come on. I'm surprised they didn't do no dinner scene with the lead girl. I'm surprised because there was a scene where the old lady's talking to the young, like I said, same actress in double roles, right? I'm surprised when they're both sitting together on a table. I'm surprised the old lady didn't tie her up to do a dinner scene. If you want to try to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sorry. And that just made me lose my train of thought now. Jeez. Oh yeah, so going back with the guy who was from The Ring. He's in his freaking undie pants, his tighty whities. He goes in the barn because the guy is like, look, as the old guy, he's looking for his wife, and the guy, The Ring, Henderson. I was because that's the actor's name, Henderson. He looks through these little hole. Well, first of all, he steps on a freaking nail, which is obvious you can see, but the guy doesn't see it. I'm like, what are you trying to be, like Daniel Stern from Home Alone? Come on. I don't know. I was surprised he didn't start screaming like Daniel Stern did when he stepped on the nail. Ah! It's not meant to be funny though. But I'm just like, would you try to just remind me of better movies? I'm sorry. What this film is doing. Through these little holes, and the guy gets stabbed through the eyes with a pitchfork. Like I said, good practical gore effect. I'll give you that as well. This film has some very decent gore in this movie. And then, after which, the guy Jackson, the Vietnam vet guy, right? He's with the old guy too. He's looking for his wife. First of all, the guy is standing. He's with the old guy. And he's holding a shotgun. Okay. Like I said, no common sense at all. Oh, this guy's holding a shotgun, and they're both staring at a lake, and they're walking through the woods, and the guy they're this close to each other, right, in the woods, right? This is the old guy with a shotgun, and this is the guy Jackson, right, the Vietnam vet. Doesn't even question it because this guy's carrying a shotgun, and all of a sudden, the old guy just raises the shotgun up, boom. Blast the guy, and then we see that the older guy locks the girl Jenna Ortega in the cellar where she finds a guy who went missing and he's dead, tied up with his pants down, and then Brittany Snow sees the old lady naked and tries to cover her up, and then naked, yeah. We're at the lake, and she tries to cover her up, trying to be nice though, but the old lady calls her whore, slaps her, and then she pushes her into the lake where the Brittany Snow gets killed by the alligator, which he just trying to rip off of Toby Hooper's Eaten Alive, or better yet, just have it be like Lake Placid or the 80 movie Alligator, or just giant alligators go and eat them both. Please. You're not trying to rip off Toby Hooper now twice, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Eaten Alive now. And then the old couple, we see them both, fuck, basically. And while the lead girl is underneath the bed, and she slowly crawls away. And then you get the stupid thing where she finds the girl Jenna Ortega out. She lets her out, and for some reason the girl at Jenna Ortega blames her for this. Well, this is all your fault. How the hell is this all this whole entire thing is her fault? Like I said, these characters are so freaking stupid. They don't have no common sense or sensibility at all. They lost their sense and sensibility. I'm trying to say. Yeah, just. Everyone's dying off, but and those little couple's crazy, but I'm gonna still go blame her because it's all her fault. How in the hell is this her fault? And then she deserves to die for her stupidity because she runs off and then she gets shot. Thank you, please, thank you. Didn't like her in Scream either. Scream 5, didn't care for her in this either. And then the old guy tries to bring her in the house, but then the guy has a heart attack. He dies, and then the lead girl, Goth, has a handgun, but the gun's empty, and the old lady, Pearl, has a shotgun, tries to shoot her, which the girl dodges out of the way, but I guess when you're an old lady, when you shoot a shotgun, the recoil is that it's a big enough recoil that sends you flying 10 feet back. I'm like, she shoots a shotgun, and then the recoil makes her send her flying like 10 feet backwards. I don't know. It's supposed to be I know it's because this is a 94% Rotten Tomatoes, a serious horror film, right? But I think it's supposed to be, they try to make that unintentionally be laughable. Which to me, it was laughable. Come on. Old lady trying to shoot a shotgun, and the recoil just sends her flying 10 feet back. And then the girl, she gets in the truck, runs her head over, and it's, like I said, very decent, gory splatter effect. And then she drives away, like, when the sun is rising, like the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then we cut back to the sheriff, what we saw, I forgot to mention, who saw at the beginning, right? He was seen at the beginning, because the opening of this movie with the sheriff, because this takes place, like, 24 hours before the events of this movie happened. And we see the sheriff, and, oh, I forgot to mention, because before the old lady tried to kill the girl with a shotgun, right? The TV is playing with this old guy who's like preaching, right? Remember I said how the girl was Christian? Because apparently the old guy on the TV preaching, that's the girl's father. I guess she wanted to get away from all the Christian baloney that her dead dad does. That's why she was doing drugs and doing the porno stuff, right? I mean, the girl doesn't learn anything anyway, because even after she drives away, she's still doing drugs. So the girl doesn't basically learn anything at all, so why should I care about this lead girl? The only thing she cared was supposed to care about is she gets away alive. But the thing is that she will still continue to do drugs. But that was the whole thing when we keep seeing the old guy on TV, right? Because that was her father, keep on branch, because she's, gone, missing, or whatever. I don't care. But anyway, getting back with the sheriff, we saw at the beginning, and now it's back to the sheriff at the end, right? Where they're investigating the horrors, the deaths that's happening here, and then one of the deputies finds the camera and saying, "Oh, this is good," and the sheriff says, "Oh, this is gonna be one fucked up horror movie." I'm like, first of all, no, it's not, because I've seen horror movies that have way more messed up situations, right? I mean, hell. Malignant, my favorite film from last year, that had much more messed up things happening in that movie. I mean, come on, especially the third act in the police station, that was way more fucked up more than anything in this movie. Or the fact with the Madison was her character's name in Malignant. Born with a conjoined twin. She has it stuck into the back of her head, and then it was actually her controlling her body. When she was doing the killing, and she was traumatized because he was the one who was doing all the bad crap, because he controlled her body since they're conjoined twins, right? And she's the one who did all the killing, all the messed up killings in that and Malignant. That was more insane than anything that happened in this movie. Yeah, speaking of, hey, how about how we have what was her conjoined twin's name again? I forget again. With Madison, and then you have... Oh, God damn. I want to look it up because I want to get what was the... Gabriel. Yeah, I think it was Gabriel. Gabriel. He was a better villain. Gabriel was a better villain than anybody than this old crazy ass couple. Have her make that with what she did for the trophy made as a weapon. Stab the crap out of the both of them. Or are these other crew characters? Because Gabriel doesn't give a damn about anybody in Malignant. How she just took all those women prisoners in that cell, breaking arms or snapping necks, ripping throats out, and just breaking more body parts, snapping necks, and just stabbing just left and right with that spear of that trophy, That was a more messed up situation, especially when Gabriel goes full on John Wick in a police station, killing 10, 15 cops, I love Malignant. I'll say this: Malignant is a better horror film than any of these A24 horror movies, and I'm sorry. That is because especially It did get a little bit of praise though because it's from director James Wan, but I still feel like now that film is underrated now because it did things a bit differently. It was more refreshing for me. A little bit uniquely different things it took with the twist I did not see coming. You know, that is better. Malignant is better than any other horror film that A24 produced ever made. I mean, hell, even this movie right here, my other favorite film from last year, Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage. You know, taking out all these killer robots. You know, he was even more badass. You know. And he didn't even say a word in the whole entire movie. He just let his actions speak louder than his words, basically. Willy's Wonderland and Malignant are much better horror movies than any, like I said, and than any A24 movie. Better than Midsommar, better than Hereditary, this movie, or Men, which I'll have to get to as well. The Witch, It Comes at Night. Oh, that's another one I forgot to mention. Killing of the Sacred Deer. Yeah, that's another one overrated one I forgot to mention. Killing of the Sacred Deer. Or Tusk, or anything. I'm so sick and tired of this freaking studio, you know? And I guarantee you, whenever a new A24 movie comes out for a horror film, it's going to get a lot of praise. I guarantee it. It just occurs to me just now. Which I completely forgot because it was a film that I enjoyed this year that was also made by A24. Everything and Everyone. It was Anything and Everywhere with Michelle Yeoh. I completely forgot because I guess my hatred for this studio made me forget about that movie, I guess. Yeah, The Disaster Artist, Uncut Gems, and Anything and Anywhere with Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis was in that movie as well. And oh yeah, even the kid who played Data from The Goonies or short stuff from Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom, he was in that movie. I was like, oh hell, I can't remember it. I was like, I can't believe that was him from The Goonies and Indiana Jones 2, The Temple of Doom. I'm like, whatever happened to him, you know? Oh, but it was cool to see him in this as well. In Anything and Everywhere, you know? But yeah, so that was another one that was made by A24. Completely freaking forgot, and I enjoy that movie. I guess, like I said, I'm on so much hate on this freaking overrated studio on making horror films. I forgot about it. Make an action like Anything and Everywhere, or comedy like The Disaster Artist, or more of a drama thriller with Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. Stick to making those movies, and I'll like A24 maybe a bit more. But as long as they continue making overrated horror films, no. Like this, and all the ones I mentioned, no. Okay? I think they just stop making horror movies. I give them credit, like I said, Warner Brothers with Malignant. I give credit where credit is due, you know? Or Willy's Wonderland. Even early this year in the summer of The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke that was directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed Doctor Strange and Deliver Us from Evil. I enjoy The Black Phone. That was a good horror film as well. I just don't get why. I mean, I know it's an opinion of mine, but I just don't get this whole overhyped praise that every horror film that is made by this company gets so much praise about. Where yet most of all these characters and all these horror A24 movies are stupid or dumb. Well, it's the same thing, but they have no brain cells, no smarts to figure things out and just make any smart decisions at all. And this just proves that, like I said, the characters I don't care about, especially the lead girl. Like I said, the acting isn't the problem. It's not. It's just when you see this old couple, you know, acting a little deranged, especially the lady, I would just leave. You know, screw the porno movie and leave. I don't know why you chose to make you go to a film place where an old lady acts a little deranged like that, though. Especially when cares all about who's so jealous of younger people that, okay, you're jealous because you just grew old and you can't do the things you can't do anymore, right? Boo freaking who, get over yourself. We are born, we grow up, we enjoy our youth, you know, young youth, and we grow old, and that's it. You can't turn back the tides of time. Or the sands of time, you could say. Sands of Time. Which actually, I'd rather watch Prince of Persia than this. You're referring to the Sands of Time. It's better than any of these movies. With Jake Gyllenhaal and Ben Kingsley. I'm not particularly a fan of that movie either, though. But I'm just saying, I was referring to the Sands of Time. Well, I'd rather watch that than this movie or any other A24 horror movies. Because I like Jake Gyllenhaal. But anyway, and then the guy Jackson. Oh, he's with the old guy who's holding a shotgun. Doesn't have the comment says, oh, he may just be unhinged as well, but no. Stupid dialogue too, where the old guy, not the old guy, the guy Henderson, the actor Henderson as the Matthew McConaughey wannabe, telling the cameraman saying, oh, here, touch my crotch and see how hard it is. I'm like, who the frick says that? Or the stupid with the girl who Jenna Ortega said blames the lead girl that all this is her fault. How is it her fault in the first place? But like I said, this has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't get the whole overhyped praise for this. Like I said, positives. Like I said, the acting is not that bad. Okay, they're trying to do the best they can. Like there are some very decent gore bits. Like I said, the guy gets stabbed and then stabbed until decapitated, or the pitchfork through the eyes, or when the old lady gets her head run over to. Decent gore effects. So I'll give credit to that. And like I said, Ty West, he knows how to do some interesting camera shots, especially with the whole overhead shot with the lead girl skinny dipping, and she's heading back, and then the alligator slowly going towards her very slowly. That was a very good looking shot, you know. But this is the common sense of this is out. The Beast people have no sense of sensibility whatsoever. It's all their logic is out the window, basically. Like all these other characters in all these horror films of A24, logic is out the window. But it's like I said, another overrated A24 horror film, and I have two more to get to, which I'm covering: Men, and then the most overrated one, along with Midsommar, Hereditary. I'm looking forward to doing those. You know, like I said, Malignant or even Willy's Wonderland is better than any of these movies. I don't care. Okay, I find Malignant very underrated nowadays. Willy's Wonderland was a very fun movie. Another one that has a little bit of interesting ideas, even though slightly above Friday Nights at Freddy's, though, but it was fun. You have Nicolas Cage kicking ass. And like I said, just I don't get all these praises that these films get. I just don't get it. I'll just stick to watching Uncut Gems or The Disaster Artist or Anything and Anywhere. Anytime was it with Michelle Yeoh? I'd rather watch that. 3 films from those that are not horror films that are made by this overrated company, A24. Make more movies like those 3 movies I mentioned, and I'll be more interested. Stay away from making more horror films. Stay away from them, please. Don't make any more. But like I say, it's all a matter of opinion, though. At the end of the day, it's all just my opinion. If you enjoy these movies from this company, that's fine. I hold nothing ill will against anybody who likes this studio or like any of these horror films. If you think it's the scariest movie you've seen in years, or like all these critics say about any of these movies, fine. More power to you. I hold nothing against anybody who likes these movies. In my vantage point, my view, my opinion, it's overrated as hell. The most overrated studio of all time especially when it comes to making horror movies. But anyway, I'm just going over the top. I said X. Like I said, it just reminds me of just the song from DMX, May He Rest in Peace, you know. X gonna give it to you. Well, this X did not give me anything. So, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review for Halloween month, and we'll see y'all later.